let me say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Let me say good morning to those of you viewing GBN TV, Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20. Good morning. Once again, those of you via social media platforms can stop saying good morning to you. But there's a Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning. Welcome to this edition of To The Point. It's Tuesday, the 16th day of April. I'm your host, the GT, with you this morning once again. And it's Opposition Tuesday here on To The Point this morning. And representing the opposition party here in Grenada, the NNP, we have with me Mr. Roland Bhola with us this morning. Mr. Bhola, good morning and welcome to this edition of To The Point. Nice to have you once again, sir. Good morning.
Good morning to you, GT. Thank you for entertaining me. A very special morning to your listeners via whatever medium they're listening, and it is my pleasure to be at your service this morning.
All right.
Or at the service of the public, if we should say that.
All right. Well, welcome once again as usual, and nice to have you, sir. It's always a pleasure having a conversation with you. This morning, let's kick the conversation off this morning. Let's talk about the state of the affairs within the new National Party. Tell me what's going on within the new National Party. From our last conversation, we did speak about the state of affairs going on, but time has passed. We have elapsed a couple of weeks or months, you should say, if we could say that. What's going on with the state of affairs within the new National Party?
Well, thank you for that question, GT, and I think it's a fair and reasonable question based on what we discussed last time I was on. And quite rightly so, a number of weeks or months has passed by and things have changed. They have evolved. As we oftentimes say, politics is very fluid. It doesn't remain one way. It changes by sometimes the minute, not just the hour, but by the minute. As things happen, people formulate ideas and so based on discussions and reactions, different decisions have to be taken. We are still, as a party, trying to operate at top level. I think we are about 85% in terms of how we operate. We still have a bit more work to do. We are looking forward as a party. The discussion is in the room, and it is something that is in the public domain as well. And there are a lot of people that are querying and calling and saying it's time for the NNP to have a convention. Even people who are not part or members of. That is in the discussion phase. We are looking forward that this year it will happen. As I've said last time, there have been some impediments in the way, but one by one we are getting rid of them and we are preparing ourselves to move forward.
All right, great. Now, I have noticed, I've been hearing via social media or viewing and so forth, and hearing from conversation, recent political meetings held around the island. What are the sole purpose of those particular political meetings that you've been, of course, your organization been getting involved in?
For several reasons. The NNP is well known over the years as a party to always touch base with its people, with its members, with the community, get into the villages. Because we believe that in order for you to be able to make prudent decisions that will affect people in a very positive way, you need to hear from them. You need to interact with them. They need a time to question. It is all well and good to have mass rallies. You open a platform and you're speaking to people who are down there with no responses from them. Those kind of meetings like what we are having, and this is about our fourth round since the last general election, fourth or fifth. We have had them in different forms. We have had some open air ones at the village and at the constituency level. We have had indoor, like we're doing now again, getting into a building, a community center, a school, people are seated. You have 2 or 3 speakers that present the facts and the information. And of course, a time is given at the end for people to ask questions or make suggestions or inquire about things that they're not very sure about. So there are several purposes. We talk about the way forward for the party, and we listen to our ordinary people, our rank and file members, and so getting information that will help us and help guide the decisions that we make going forward.
Now, tell me, what is the way forward for the new National Party as it stands now? What is really the way forward, if I could ask it in that particular way?
Well, I don't know if I can answer that in one sentence because there are several things that must be done. Politics is a very dynamic thing. A political party is very dynamic. You have many facets of it, many different people with different characteristics, and you have to sort of merge everything together in one melting pot. At the same time, you cannot only look at what activities or what actions do you take that will make members of the executive or the higher echelons of the party make them happy. While you try to do that, you also have to understand that you have the ordinary and rank and file members of the little communities and villages and so that you need to keep in touch with, you need to communicate with, and you need to take decisions that will not affect them in a negative way. And then in a broader sense, you have the country as a whole. We are now in opposition, and you're vying that whenever an election comes around, that you would be able to present policies and programs to the people, even if those who are not members of the party will be convinced that based on your policies and programs, you are prepared, or you will be ready to govern the country, take it forward, and make life much easier and progressive for the entire nation. So there are several, as I say, areas that you need to look at. You need to constantly be meeting, you need to be making changes. So the way forward is not like one straight road, if I can put it in that term. You have goals, you have aspirations, and generally the major goal of any political party, I would want to believe, will be to be victorious whenever a national election is called. But on the way to becoming victorious, there are several other things that must be done. Like we say, contact with your people. You need to be ensuring that even the very people who say, yes, we are members of your party, we support you, we're paying our dues, you have to ensure that they do the right things to qualify them to vote on an election time. Making sure that they're registered, making sure that they check the list constantly whenever a version of it comes out to ensure that their names remain on the list, and several things. So as I've said, GT, we want to move forward. We want to do things correctly. We have made mistakes, and I do believe as a political party, we still make mistakes because these are human beings that operate, and from time to time you may err. But as we do, and we recognize it's been pointed out to us, we try to make the necessary changes to ensure that we stay on the correct path. So the pathway for the NNP is preparing itself, preparing its people, preparing the party as an organ to be victorious in the next election, but at the same time trying to develop plans and programs that we believe if we do, or if we are successful in another general election, we can implement those plans and programs that will bring prosperity to the Grenadian people.
All right. Let me also ask you this. Let's until we speaking on the new National Party this morning. Let's talk about the stability of the new National Party. How stable would you say is the new National Party as it stands now? After, of course, its defeat in the last general election and so forth. How is the stability level of the new National Party?
Well, when you ask about the stability level, if we should grade it on a scale of 1 to 10, I definitely will give the new National Party a 8.5. Because, and I say 8.5 on a scale of 1 to 10 because I do not believe that the stability of any organization or of any political party is something that you can take for granted. The faces of people, the voices of people, they are one thing. What they will actually do at any given time, like I've said earlier on, politics is a very fluid thing. Things change quickly sometimes. And especially if things decide to go downhill, it can go that way rather quickly. So I don't believe we are at 10. I don't believe we are at 9, but I would say about 8.5 because we do have our challenges. There are, from time to time, there are issues that confront us that we have to sit in the engine room, if I can call it that, and we'd have to discuss and we'd have to weigh the options that are available to us. And sometimes we have to take hard decisions, and that is all part of leadership and showing that you're able to deal with difficult situations. So I'll say 8.5, and I hope that answers your question.
All right. Now, there's another question I have to ask. It refers to, or in reference to recent developments taking place in terms that's been in the news and so forth. Recently, we heard a journalist making, statements on the developments that's taking place within the new National Party related to Dr. Mitchell. As he's been, if I could say that, being that stumbling block in terms of, in reference to the convention happening and so forth. What's your take on that, sir? In terms of if you were able to happen to hear those conversations that have been going around lately.
Well, I've been hearing a lot of conversation, and I want to believe that the particular piece, a particular blog that you're talking about was sent to me, and I read it. And let me first say, the blog is not about developments in the party. As you quite correctly said, a journalist, and we know what journalism is all about. It's about some pieces are very factual, and sometimes some of it appeal to the fantasy of people. Someone giving their opinion, someone saying or writing a piece based on how they view things, and that doesn't necessarily say that what's written or what comes across in a news broadcast is absolutely true. A different journalist with a different mindset, sitting in a different position and viewing the same situation, may have written a piece quite differently, may have used a lot of different words, and the essence that the readers get from it would be absolutely different. So it's all about how much that person influence the piece they write with the knowledge and the skills. And we have some very, very skillful writers. Sometimes in writing, people may have a bit of information that are factual, but they build a lot of other false information around the factual piece to stretch what they know or to make the piece that they write exciting to the readers. We have looked at the particular blog, if I think we are talking about the same thing, because while it is the right of any individual, journalist or not, to give their opinion and to share their opinion, it is also very important for us as an organization to look at it, to read it, and to examine it, and to understand how sometimes some people, groups of people or individuals feel about the party or feel about individuals in the party. We have no difficulty with anyone who writes anything about the NNP, truthful or not. What we do is try to learn from every situation, try to visualize what can come out of a situation, what sentiments can be raised, and how we as an organization, because we do not expect as a party to be sitting there like saints. We do not expect that everybody in Grenada is going to agree with everything we do or say. But what we do know is that we must be in control of what we are doing. And we must do everything in a timely fashion after having discussions, after analyzing, after believing that the steps or the moves that we may make are the best ones for the party, present and in future, but also how it may affect the country. Presently and in the future. So, nothing crude about it. We read it. There are some issues in that piece that was not totally true. I know in a couple of places my name was mentioned as well as a couple of other people, and people feel, well, Roland Bhola is the general secretary, and maybe he should be doing something different to what he's doing, or doing more or doing less, whatever they think, but it is the opinion of the individual. And that's how we have to see it, as someone's opinion. And I do, as an individual myself, I do look forward to people sharing their views and their opinions. I take it in good strides. I do not, and party do not always agree with everything that's being said, like I said earlier on, because not everything in that was factual. But for whatever it's worth, we always examine and see what lessons could be learned from whatever he said.
Okay, so we drew for a break. Let's take it. We come back. We got so much more to talk about on the return. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here, Classic Radio GBN TV. We will be right back after the break.
Saturday, May 4th, there will be a shift on the island as the biggest grilling fest in Grenada moves to the big parish. The Maggie King of the Grill competition is at Progress Park, St. Andrew. Come taste the most sumptuous creations from the grill as top chefs and food enthusiasts showcase their culinary skills. Maggie King of the Grill is a festival like no other with live soca music, fun attractions, and games for the entire family. Then from 6 p.m., get a chance to win up to $5,000 cash in bingo. Interested vendors and grillers should call 456-3454 to register. It's the Maggie King of the Grill competition at Progress Park, St. Andrew. Gates open from 12 noon. Bring your appetite and stay tuned to this station for more details.
Maggie King of the Grill is made possible by Bryden and Miners, Hunt's, the official barbecue sauce of King of the Grill, Rubis, Get Going, Independence Agencies, agents for Swiss products, Grenada Paper Product, Grenada Bottling Company Limited, and Waggy Tea Rental and Sounds.
Kiriko Maroon and String Band Music Festival 2024, April 26th to the 28th. Coming together to preserve and showcase our culture is who we are. Friday the 26th, Salon at the Chapel. Early morning libation, 3 p.m. Saraka, 7 p.m. the official opening ceremony and cultural evening. Saturday from 10 a.m. Hillsborough Square. It's Strings in the City. Then at 8 p.m. we move to the Botanical Gardens for Cultural Explosion with local and regional performances featuring Touch, the band. Admission $60. Then on Sunday, it's the grand finale, Paradise Beach. From 12 noon, musical entertainment. And from 4 p.m., Paradise Beach Fest, cultural entertainment and live music. Admission $20. Come and learn to dance the quadrille and big drum on Paradise Beach every Sunday after the launch until the festival ends. Kiriko Maroon and String Band Music Festival 2024, April 26th to the 28th.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to the point here on Classic Radio and GBN TV. It's Opposition Tuesday here on To the Point this morning. And representing the New National Party this morning is Mr. Roland Bhola. Mr. Bhola, welcome back. Welcome back to you, sir. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's continue our conversation on the of course, the organization, the New National Party, being the opposition party in Grenada. Now, my next question. Well, how solid, I should say, if I could use a word, is the executive of the New National Party? Is there any factions within the executive of the New National Party? If I could ask a question of that nature, sir.
But based on your question and based on where I sit and what I see happening at the executive, I will not say that there are factions. As a matter of fact, the executive met on Thursday last. We meet at least once a month, sometimes twice if needs be, or as regular as issues that arise may cause us to have to meet. But we definitely meet at least once every month, most times twice. And like I say, you can always increase that if there are issues that needs to be discussed. Let me dive in a little further and say, wherever you have groups of people, conflict will arise because, it's a very dynamic thing. You and I can look at the same issue and see different colors and see different, fruits coming from it. And it doesn't mean that you are wrong or I am right. It is our own perspective, just as we spoke earlier on before the break about someone writing a piece. It's their perspective. It is depending on where they are looking. It depends on what they're hoping to get out of what they write. So the different individuals in the executive may come to any particular meeting on any particular day based on what the issues are for discussion and may have their own opinion. But what makes good sense is that you discuss. We argue, we agree and disagree on certain things, but at the end of the day, we have to come to a conclusion. And when we do, there is what is referred to as collective responsibility. So we all agree, whether in the argument I was for or against, at the end of the day, the decision of the executive stands. And so I believe the executive is as solid as it should be, because you can take decisions you come to conclusions on issues, and we have collective responsibility for whatever the outcome may be from the decisions that are taken.
There's also the issue of Dr. Mitchell's relationship with members of the executive. We've been hearing those conversations going around as we go back to the blog that we speak of also earlier. What is Dr. Mitchell's relationship, of course, with senior members of the executive? Is there still that harmonious relationship, or is there anything out of the ordinary, if I could ask that?
Out of the ordinary, I don't know. I cannot comment fully on an issue of relationship at an individual level.
All right.
I don't know much about the individual, how one individual is treated, or how the relationship is with one individual as compared to another. But from the level of the executive, when you meet, everything is cordial. I don't, as truthful as I can be, see any issues occurring. Like I say, there's sometimes a fierce debate. Sometimes people get a little aggressive, but that is normal, because if you know what a debate is, and sometimes people feel very strong about the point that they're making, and they will do as much within the remits of legality and civilization to press the point home. An onlooker or a listener who is not part and parcel of the whole discussion, hearing it from the outside or viewing it or learning about it, may think that there is a lot of hostility and so. But it is sometimes just how passionate some people are about issues that they want to raise, or about things that they would like to see happen. But as I've mentioned before, after all of this, the chairman, who is in charge of every meeting, would say, well, we have debated, we have had a lot of views on the issue. Now we must conclude. We must either take it to a vote or agree that this is the way we go. He sometimes sums it up and puts the question to the executive. And finally, some sort of agreement comes. And within those processes and the time that we spend in executive, how many hours, how long, or how short, I cannot say that I have recognized any sort of activity happening or any behavioral pattern that will suggest that there is not cordial relationship one with another. On an individual basis, things may be different. I don't know for sure, and so I can't comment on it.
Okay. Now, recently I've heard a senior, of course, I've been listening to a senior member of your executive, if I could say, I hope he's a senior member of the party. That's Dr. Bert Braffett. Of course, he was in a recent, one of those recent, of course, programs speaking on issues from his own personal capacity or his own personal opinions as relates to, Dr. Mitchell and so forth, and the NMP in general. What's your take of that, if you have happened to heard the conversation of Dr. Bert Braffett?
Of course, I did. I listened to him. I saw it, and let me say, from the onset, as you have truly pointed out, Dr. Braffett was giving his opinion, and let me also make a correction. He is definitely a senior member of the party, has been for many, many years, long before even my existence and I becoming part of the New National Party. But Dr. Braffett is not a senior executive member, as I've heard some people say. He's not an elected member of the executive. By virtue of his longevity in the party, I believe, and a close relationship with the political leader, Dr. Braffett is an invitee to the executive. And we know what an invite is. I can give you an invite to my house. Doesn't mean that you're a member of the family or you are a member of the household. But you're invited. I can say to you, well, you're invited every Sunday to come have dinner with us. or I'm inviting you because it's my birthday, and that's a one-off invitation. So Dr. Brafitt is an invitee to the executive, and a valuable one, I must say. I've gleaned a lot from his experience and his knowledge and sometimes his insight into things. So definitely he has been part and parcel of as an invitee. I think the issue with what was done and with the interview, as it was his opinion, and he had said so in the interview, is whether or not he has crossed any lines, any bounds, whether or not the way he did what he did was in keeping with, or has he crossed the line and needs to face the disciplinary committee, which is part of what the executive has, and the party has a disciplinary committee. That is still, the verdict is still out on that, because the committee will meet if they have not done so yet. I'm not a member of it, so I don't know. They will examine again the contents of what he said and to verify whether he crossed any line. But separate and apart from that, one also has to value relationships, and one has to accept that when you are part of an organ or an organization, what is prudent for you to do and not to do. Sometimes our urges may want us to do certain things. Sometimes we may feel that it is the right thing as an individual to do. But as I have said very early in our discourse this morning, in coming up with decisions, you not only look at what is feasible for you as the individual, or what is going to benefit you as an individual, but you have to also think about the whole, the party, the other members of the party, the rank and file, wherever they are. And of course, what would my doing of this thing, how would it reflect in the public, and how can it affect our future success? And all of those things one has to consider. Maybe, and I don't know, because Dr. Brafitt and I did not have a detailed discussion on the issue. So I don't know if he considered all of those, and in weighing them out, he thought it was better to do what he did. That is a question he will be able to answer. But it is also something that the committee will look at, and to make a determination whether any protocol or any rules or any regulation was breached as a result of what he did.
In reference to convention, once again, Mr. Bhola, from a couple of months ago, I had, of course, Ms. Oliver Joseph on the program. I also spoke to you. What is the continued delay? What is really that continued delay in terms of the new National Party having that convention? Is it the result of Dr. Mitchell's not wanting to have it, that convention as yet, as has been said, the conversation that's been going around? What is that real reason for that delay in having a convention thus far?
Well, I've heard. Sorry.
Go ahead. You answer. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I've heard the narrative about Dr. Mitchell. It is not entirely up to Dr. Mitchell to determine when there is a convention. I've said it before. I think the chairman, Brother Oliver Joseph, had said it. It is the executive to make a final determination when. There's no question about if there will be a convention. There will be. There have to be. The party is part of the process that the party has to go through. And there is no denial about that. Our constitution states it. There are reasons why it has not happened thus far, and those reasons have been given before. Based on the structure of how you're supposed to have a convention, coming after the defeat in the election, our party went to a low. I've said that on this very program before. I've known others who have said so. We were at a low, and of course you have to rebuild the morale in your people. You have to regroup, you have to regather, and we're seeing the growth. We're seeing people getting more interesting, people are getting more vocal, the thing. Mind you, GT, a lot of the call about NNP and convention, when and why not, are coming from people who have no stake in the convention at all. who are not even members of the party. I'm not saying members of the party are not saying, well, it's time, but the major voices, the loudest voices are just people from the outside who are trying to use this issue to present a narrative that the NNP is disorganized and is in disarray and Dr. Mitchell is responsible and so forth. And I think a lot of that arises from the fact that the political leader himself has said, look, I have no interest in returning as leader. And it will be the first time, from my knowledge, since after Dr. Mitchell became the leader of the party, that we may happen to see in a convention a contest for leadership. From the time he has attained leadership of the party, we have been to several conventions. I don't know the exact number. I have not checked it. And he has been re-elected into the position as leader unopposed on every occasion. This may be the first time when we may see 1, 2, or 3, or how many there may be. I don't know. There are people who have already expressed their interest, and there may be others who are interested and have not come out openly as yet. But it may be the first time in an NNP's convention since the Dr. Mitchell becoming leader that we may see a contest for leadership. And that has sparked a lot of interest. And so I think there's some over-enthusiastic people that keep saying, but the NNP will do what it has to do in due time. We'll do what is best for our party. We'll do what we think is best to take us forward. And so whatever discussions we are having, it is with the best interests of the party and those who support the party. And like I say, ultimately for Grenada as a whole. So there's no secret, we have said it, that we're reorganizing. There are a number of constituencies now that has had the constituency branch meeting. They've put an executive in place. They will now be in a position to select the delegates, because that's how you get delegates that goes to the convention. And it's only a matter of time.
All right. It's my final question before the break. Has it gotten to the state within the executive? I'm not sure if you could answer that for me. That there are executive members. I'm getting this the feeling of conversation I've been having also with individuals, that there are executive members who may not be in favor of Dr. Mitchell's continuing being the leader of the new national party when a convention comes to, if an election of course is called. What's your take in terms of individual having those particular views? If I could ask that question.
Well, everyone is entitled to their view, but based on the question that you phrased, GT, I have not heard up until this time Dr. Mitchell saying that he is interested in continuing to lead the party after a convention. If that is the case, and he had said it, he may have said it not when I was around, or it has not reached me. People come up with their own ideas. People sometimes draw from any situation their own conclusions. And I want to believe up until this time that a lot of people who probably have those notions just draw their own conclusion. I still hold steadfast to the fact that our political leader is straightforward, is honest, and has said in his own words what he said. And from then to now, I have not heard him say anything that is different to what he said then. If we want to interpret, and those who want to interpret things differently, that's their own entitlement. But until I hear him say, look, I am rethinking the decision that I made. I am now going back. Then I can boldly say, well, yes, that's the case. But until now, I cannot defend anything about Dr. Mitchell or what other people think about him coming up with their own conclusions. I can't speak to that because I don't know that. I can only speak to what I know as facts and truth. And until something else comes up or something else is being said to convince me differently, then I can speak differently.
All right. We due for a break, Mr. Bhola. Let's take it. We'll be right back. Listeners and viewers, stay with us. It's to the point when we come back. The opportunity is also being offered to you, listeners and viewers out there. If you do have a question or two, you may like to ask Mr. Bhola. Feel free to do so in the next segment. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Mark your calendars, football fanatics. The GFA is turning 100 this year, and we're ready to celebrate. It's GFA's Legends Weekend, a 3-day extravaganza, kicking off on Friday, May 3rd, and running all the way till Sunday, May 5th. Witness history in the making. The Caribbean taking on the world in a clash of legendary international footballers on Sunday, May 5th at the electrifying Kirani James Athletic Stadium. Get ready to roar with the crowd as iconic legends like Emmanuel Adebayor, El Haj Diouf, Alex Song, Michael Essien, Luis El Matador Hernandez, Shaka Hislop, Asamoah Gyan, Ricardo Bibi Gardner, Russell Latapi, Shallery Joseph, Jason Roberts, Dexter Daps, and a whole host of superstars light up the pitch. From breathtaking goals to unforgettable memories, GFA's Legends Weekend promises an epic celebration of football you won't want to miss. Keep your eyes peeled on GFA's social media for the full squad reveal. GFA's Legend Weekend. Be there.
It's the 6th annual Masters of Calypso. Sunday, May 12th, Mother's Day at Quarantine Point. Featuring Rootsman Kelly, Sour Serpent, Ajamo, Japs, Squeezy, and Super Flying Flynn from Trinidad. John King and Sugar Aloes from Barbados. The Mighty Gabby and Red Plastic Bag. And just for you mothers from Jamaica, Eric Donaldson. Early bird tickets $60, $70 after. More at the door. Limited VIP tickets available at $350. Free shuttle service to and from the venue. Showtime 6 p.m.
In honor of the Grenada 50th Independence, the Royal Grenada Police Force Band presents the 2nd annual Mother's Night Out. Mother's Night Out. The concerts all going down on Sunday, May 12th from 5 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center. Featuring live from TNT. It's crazy.
Time to come. America will have a black president.
John King.
How many more?
June Lodge. Together with the Hitman Inspector, Valine Ned, Samantha Dixon, Alex Phillip, Shane, Innocent, General PP, Kareem, Alexis, Ron Barry, the African Man, and much more. Dress code elegant. It's Mother's Night Out, the Grenada Trade Center from 5 p.m. on Sunday, May 12th. Lots of giveaways and prizes.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point for today, Tuesday's Opposition Tuesday here on To The Point this morning. And representing the opposition party here in Grenada, the New National Party, we have for you Mr. Oliver, that's of course Mr. Roland Bhola. Sort of mixing the names up. My apology for that. Mr. Bhola, welcome back. Welcome back. And in this segment, of course, we invite you, listeners and viewers, if you do have a question or two, if you have, feel free to ask your questions. And let's move on and take our first caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Yes, good morning to you, GT. And how are you today?
Doing pretty well, sir. Doing pretty well.
All right, have a great day. Good morning, Mr. Bhola.
Good morning to you, sir.
Yes, I'll tell you something. I don't get into party. Neither party. My thing is not the politics. My thing is leadership and the economy. And over the months and years, I'm yet to understand why the focus on Dr. Mitchell and the NNP party and the internal affairs, where we have so much to discuss about the economy. To me, the party has its business to do, and we should leave it up to the party. There's a government in office. And that is what we should focus on, what the government is doing, what they're not doing, and the behavior of the economy. So this thing about Dr. Mitchell and the NNP, to me, is not relevant. It's just not relevant. And I think we should defocus on that at this point in time. And let us focus on the economy. Tourism. We have a lot to do for tourism, and they're promoting tourism now, yeah? But we have a parish that is empty. St. David's. We would like to see the economy of St. David's move into create jobs, because we, the people of St. David's, are tired with jumping bus to go into town to work for this small salary. At the end of the day, we earn nothing. We want employment to come to St. David's, and that is where I think most of us should focus our intention, the development of the economy, expansion of the economy, and how the economy behave, what the economy do for us. I think we should more concentrate on that instead of concentrating on a party that is out of office, and the private affairs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller, so much. Any response to the caller, Mr. Bhola, or we move on to another caller?
Nothing much to say, but I think that the caller is looking at a sensible sort of his opinion is sensible. I'm not saying no focus absolutely on the NNP. Of course, the NNP being in opposition is a party in waiting, and people may want to know from time to time, where do we go from here? What is happening with the party in waiting? Can we trust them? Are they doing what they're supposed to do to be ready? Because while the Constitution gives us a 5-year period for any political party to remain in office, if we are to be constitutional, we know that the prerogative is with the ruling party, and an election can be called at any time. And so people forecasting and taking a look into or peep into what is happening internally in the NNP, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with commenting. There's nothing wrong with advising. But I think, as he correctly said, in my opinion and in his opinion, the economy and what more can we do? How can we bring some easement to people? How can we make sure that livelihoods are better off? And so we probably should spend some more time thinking about those things too.
Caller via WhatsApp, good morning. Go right ahead with your contribution, please.
Morning.
Good morning to you.
I just want to enhance on what the other caller said. I think NNP and NDC politicians are basically, they have a similarity, and the supporters, they peek into each other party and kind of make, it's like pecan, it's like confusion things. But I listened to Mr. Bhola, the NNP, the state of the NNP now, which Mr. Bhola, he's talking around, but he's politics. He won't tell you everything. Now, the NNP is in the state like the NDC a couple of years ago, because there was no reason for the NNP to include Peter David and his group into the party. Now, if you're living in a democracy, you don't expect to win all the seats in parliament. And you're not ruling Grenada by the gun. So what the NDC and NNP had to do when they won the election in 2030, before the election, they shouldn't include the Peter David group in it, so they bought over the zombie from Tillman Thomas party. So they buy over Tillman Thomas problem. Because Peter David is not culturally a person who likes to follow. He wants to lead. He had the old PRG mentality. And also, I hear people in the NDC, they criticizing Dr. Mitchell for not giving way to Peter David. But the question is Peter David or NNP? That's the thing. I mean, we think critical politically. But then you have to blame the NNP leader for taking Peter David in his party. So the state of Grenada is, the party politics is, we must build political party without splinters. Because when a man comes as a splinter with a group, he wants his share. We didn't learn from the Jewel movement. We brought Maurice Bishop. We brought Bernard Code. What happened to the Jewel? So what is going on in the NNP party, whether it's fighting or not or whatever, it is not a surprise to me, because you bring in an element that is not part of your political culture. And I'm going to close up by saying, the first caller said we must focus on rural development. Try to develop Grenada. Grenada is surrounded by water. Develop St. David. I from St. Patrick, we are the most tourist site. I see the present government is come back saying they want to build statues of people who died on the fort. They're fixing the fort. You have 9 slave pens in Montreal to develop to bring tourists to Grenada in St. Patrick. But you're studying Maurice Bishop, a dictator. This is things what is important right now. But I blame the NNP for its death because they shouldn't take Peter David and his group into the party. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. Any response, Mr. Bhola?
Well, of course, as I oftentimes put it, we are all entitled to opinions and give our feelings. And this is someone sharing their opinion. I don't necessarily believe and think as he does. I believe, democracy must prevail, and you would have people with different opinions. People would view the same thing and see different colors. I mentioned that earlier on, and here is one person who saw the inclusion of Peter David into the NNP as a bad thing. I don't necessarily feel so, and I don't believe that the political leader felt so at the time when he accepted and the executive accepted and the party as a whole accepted Peter into the party. So again, there would be clashes, there would be arguments, there would be debate on policies taken before, policies to take now, and it's a matter of coming to a consensus. We are agreeing to disagree on certain issues and trying to move forward in the best way possible.
All right. We do have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
I wish to also state that I agree with the first caller that the NNP should spend more time about the economy. That being said, I want to ask Mr. Bhola, who is the chairman of the party and who has to call the executive to a meeting to decide things like convention? Mr. Bhola, could you answer that?
Thank you, caller.
Definitely. Oh, are you finished, sir? Sorry.
Yes, the caller have already gone.
Yeah, okay. Definitely, if you had never known Mr. Oliver Joseph, the former rep for St. David's, is the chairman of the party. And meetings are held, and there is no special meeting for convention. There's an agenda. And when you go to meeting, you discuss issues that are on the agenda, and there is an agenda item called any other business. So even if, for example, as he mentioned convention, if convention was not one of the stated items on the agenda for discussion, but under any other business, a member of the executive feels so moved that he wants to bring up a point or ask a question or make a presentation on something to do with convention, that will be allowed under any other business, and it can ensue a discussion that can either end in that executive, or one may see the need, the executive may see the need, the chairman and others to say, well, let us put it as an agenda item. Let us put this topic as an agenda item for the next meeting where we can have more in-depth discussion. So I hope that answered your question. Oliver Joseph is chairman, and the executive, he doesn't have to call the executive in any particular meeting to discuss convention.
Okay. We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, GT, and good morning, Mr. Bhola.
Good morning to you, sir.
I don't know call on a Tuesday, but Mr. Bhola is a person I've had a keen interest in terms of his trajectory. Mr. Bhola, you seem to be a very faithful supporter, a disciple of their leader. I want to remind you that you did say when you were removed from government, from your ministerial position, that you will rejoin from frontline politics. But I've never felt that really the case. Is it a case that you were pulled out of ministerial duties to keep an eye on Peter David? And then I'm not a supporter of Peter, any politician in Grenada, but it seems as though, and based on the information I have, I received that you were pulled out from government so that you can keep a close eye on Peter based on what happened in Peter's previous life in terms of the NDC. It's very difficult for me. I know you are one of the more I would say, intelligent or learned person. I know I have every reason to know that you are a reader and that kind of thing, and even when you speak. But the thing that puzzles me is how you could come and, as somebody said earlier, spin, you're spinning. I disagree with the callers that says that you should focus on the economy and not on the working of the NNP. Shouldn't be concerned about governance. If governance is affected or will be contributed by a party, if it cannot put its house in order, how come it will put the country in order? I mean, so to me, it shows up the defect, the dysfunction of this group, which have always been. And Mr. Hamlet Blank said something the other day. He's another one I've not been in agreement with him most of my life. But he said something the other day on this radio station that the NNP has been the least democratic organization, one of the least democratic political institutions. How do you respond to that?
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Thank you, caller. You have asked a number of things. I try to see how best I can remember all of what you said. The first thing is that I want to ask you a question. Are you or have you ever been a member of the New National Party? Maybe you're off the phone and you can answer. And do you have all of the knowledge and the authority to say all of the things that you say? Firstly, you said you think I was removed of office, and that is absolutely not true. I said it then, and I can say it now again. I personally, based on family issues, I don't want to drag my family into that, but my wife was very ill, and I went to the political leader and I said, listen, I have a lot on my plate. I'm the general secretary of the party. I have a pretty huge ministry at the time, which was agriculture, land, forestry, fisheries, and the environment to concern. I have a constituency to run, and I have an ailing wife who I need to give attention, who I need to spend time with, and so having done 3 terms with the party, I would not like to be considered for the following election. Yes? That would have been the 2018 election. So people have their own opinions, and we've been saying that all morning, and people have their views on certain things. I don't know that I was asked to watch Peter David. I don't know. I've never been a security officer, and I don't know why Peter David needed to be watched. For your information, in case you doesn't know, Peter David and I are very good friends. We speak regularly, not daily, but almost once per week. We touch base with each other. And we have been friends for a very long time, even before he became a member of the NNP. As a matter of fact, our friendship really grew and blossomed since late 2002, getting into 2003, when it was the first time that because I joined the NNP in 2002, ran in the 2003 election for the first time. And around those times when I was deciding to join the NNP, Peter David was then the General Secretary of the NDC. And along with several other members, including the former Prime Minister, Mr. Tillman Thomas, and so they came to visit me to ask me if I would reconsider and take a candidacy for the NDC. These are things that I don't dive into and talk. This is past. And after that meeting, that first meeting with 5 members of the NDC, including Peter David, he continued to visit me almost once a week. At those times, I used to operate a little business, a little village shop in my village of La Poterie, and he used to come to see me almost weekly for a couple of months until he stopped. And so the friendship continued from then up until this day. So I don't know where is it that issue of I was placed to watch when I was pushed out of politics. Just to clarify that even further, when I first spoke to Dr. Mitchell as Prime Minister and political leader prior to the 2018 election to say to him that we should start looking for somebody else for St. Andrews Northeast because, I don't think he should consider me. He said to me clearly, he don't accept that. He don't believe that. He said to me, and those was his word, not verbatim, but I mean, I don't remember the exact words, but he said something to the effect that, look, you are young, you are growing in the politics. Someone like you could possibly be a leader of the party someday. Why are you thinking about leaving now? And it was Honorable Gregory Bowen at the time, and the same Peter David, who was new in the party, that I spoke with, explained my situation, and they accompanied me to see Dr. Mitchell on a second occasion before he agreed, well, yes, he will accept that I'm not going forward again. So I think the narrative about I was placed to watch Peter David doesn't hold any water. It's not true. All right. I agree with the caller, and when he said we should be looking, and I made the point earlier on that the opposition party is a party in waiting, could possibly win any election to come, and people have a right to peep into it, to look into it, to examine, and to make sure that things are happening in the right way so that they can build the confidence. I mean, there probably are a couple other things that the caller spoke about that I can't remember clearly in my head to give an answer to now. But,
thank you very much.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, good morning, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Bhola. Good morning. How are you, sir? You always have to pick up the crap for me. But anyway, I tend not to agree with you, actually, at least this morning in a certain way. I mean, you always use the word, well, most people use the word convention. I am not too certain about constitution, the constitution of the party and what it says. So whether it's convention or constitution, that is what I would like to be cleared up with, because I do have a problem with another association, the Taxi Association, National Taxi Association. And this association has a constitution, and they are not living in accordance with the Taxi Union, with the constitution. I'm wondering, we're living in a situation of Trump and follow suit, because if the NNP as a political party and was in office for so many years and is doing this kind of thing, and then the others follow suit in. My children and grandchildren need to be a part of this taxi association thing. I don't want to be in that. But, I mean, I've made myself clear. But I've made application. People have made me spend money to become a member of that association. The president of himself used the word to me, it's a lifetime investment. And then after that, he turned around and be a hypocrite to say, I am no good, I am unsatisfactory, and whatnot, etc. You know, Trump and follow suit. Let us make that change. Because Grenadians need to know when the next election comes, where they're going to be putting the X. Leadership is what we're looking for. Leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Any response to the caller before we entertain another caller?
Nothing much I can say to the caller. He has his issues. He has his problem. He doesn't like certain things, and that's democracy at work. That's human rights. People having the right to like or dislike something, and so. But we must also accept that while we have that right and we enjoy democracy, other people have a right too, and must enjoy the democracy of agreeing or disagreeing.
Caller via WhatsApp, good morning, you're welcome. Go right ahead, please. We do have...
Good morning, Jit.
Most likely will be our final caller for this morning. Go right ahead, please.
Mr. Bhola, every Tuesday, the NNP sends somebody different, right? Can you tell me why we're not seeing Peter David representing the NNP? You know, I look at all the different shows, the Sheldon Scott, the Real FM, and we only see the same set of people being recycling. All right. And another thing I want to ask you, Mr. Bhola, I sit down here and I listen to you. And I think every Tuesday you guys come around and I look Mama Guy Grenadians concerning the convention. All right. You said that you guys have to put things together. It's 2 years, Mr. Bhola. You know what I mean? NDC lose 15 seats twice. All right. And you could tell me that MDC will put the party together within 6 months, have a convention, and win an election. And you guys win 6 seats, and you tell me that it's taking you more than 2 years to call a convention, that you guys so badly damaged. Mr. Bhola, be honest and tell the people, as we heard from Hamlet Mac, that Kit Mitchell hijacked the NNP party because he don't have the delegates. And I'd like you to answer my first question, why we not seeing Peter appearing on the GBN and all the other platforms?
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Any response?
Thank you. And it's a question you can place to Peter, because I know there's a schedule that has been done by the PRO. I am not the one who puts the schedule together. And I know Peter's name is down on the schedule to to appear on this program. I also happen to know that on at least 2 separate occasions before because of what Peter does, being a legal person in the courts, a lawyer, there was one occasion when he was expected to be on to the point, and he had a very important court matter that morning. And the second occasion, which is 2 occasions I can speak about, that he was out of the country. But you can ask him himself. He may have an answer for you. I can't say more than that. Secondly, sir, it is not true to say that because NDC lost 15 seats twice, that they was always able to have convention. There was a period when NDC went for years without having a convention. Go back and check the history. And I'm not saying that we have to follow through because they did it or it happened with them that it has to happen with us. You choose to believe a blog that was written by Hamlet Mack, as you say, that is a matter of choice for you. I am telling you what I know is happening. I'm telling you what we are doing as a party, and you choose not to believe. That is democracy at work. That is you choosing one over the other, and everybody has that choice. So I can't blame you for saying what you want to say. You want to tell me that what I'm saying is not honest and truthful and telling me to be honest and truthful. So probably you know some honesty and some truth that I don't know about, but it is your right, like I said, to believe what you want to, disbelieve other things, and so we will continue and life will go on. But I do know that the NNP is putting things together, its plans are in place, and definitely there will be a convention. So when it comes, I don't know what you would say, whether Mr. Bhola and others were speaking the truth or if they continue to lie.
All right. Mr. Bhola, any closing remarks before we take a wrap for today's program?
Well, I just want to thank you, GTGBN, and of course all of the persons who asked the question, the listeners, those who was unable to place a question if they wanted to. I'm sorry, but time is of the limit here, and I say keep listening, keep looking. If you have an interest in wanting to know, you can speak personally, you can wait for programs like that. But the fact is, as an NNP, I am an NNP. I am part of the party, and I know that things are happening. I can't say, like I told you earlier in GT, that everything is 100% because we're dealing with human beings, and people have differences in opinion, just like we hear from the callers, and they choose to do different things. But all in all, we are trying to do the best we can at this time. Enjoy the rest of your day and take good care.
Thank you all, Mr. Bhola, and same goes out to you. Until we have another opportunity to be on the program once again, have yourself a good day, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point. Thanks all who contributed some way or the other. Have yourself a good day, folks. Be good to yourself and others. And that's where I say goodbye for today. Goodbye, folks.